Hi, I'm Richard from Torpedo SwimRun, and welcome to the inaugural Torpedo Wild. I'm in the river just outside of the ebb and flow campsite. This is the river you're going to be swimming in the Prologue tomorrow night. The water is a little bit chilly, but it's nowhere near the 10 degrees that the Commons was last weekend. The water's definitely warmed up a bit in the rivers here in the last few days of sunshine. I'm going to talk through a detailed route briefing now for the Prologue and for the race. And then I hope everyone travels safely, and we'll see you at ebb and flow tomorrow. Okay, we're going to do a quick run through of the schedule for the weekend. So the Prologue is on Friday. For those of you driving through from Cape Town, our friends at Bootleggers have organized us a complimentary pie and coffee from the Oatmeal Bakery. And just a quick edit, I had initially said in the email that it's at Riversdale. There isn't oatmeal there, but it is at the Oatmeal at Raffier Sonder End. They've got a list of all participants, and you can stop by there for a nice little putt course. Campsite opens up from 12 o'clock. Registration is from 2. We will keep registration open past 4:30 for those of you driving up from Cape Town, or some guys coming down from Joburg and arriving later. The Prologue, there's a half an hour start window. It's from 4 to 4:30. There's no set times for you to start in. You all have timing chips. We will have marshals there to help you. When you're ready to start your Prologue, you tap yourself in, you race the 6Ks. When you finish, you tap yourself out, and that will be your time. So you're welcome to go for a warm-up on the Prologue route and be out on the water. But for those of you wanting to do your one-timed lap, it has to be between 4 o'clock and 4:30. If any of you are still out after 6:30, I doubt it. That's very lenient, but we do have a cutoff, and that's a safety point. And then we've got a Lamb on the Spit and CBC Beers and Rasta and the Rhino, a local George band, playing from after the Prologue. On Saturday, we've got a complimentary, it's not compulsory, but we've got a complimentary shuttle which departs from ebb and flow at 6:30. It will take you up to Nelson Mandela University for the race start at 7:30. The first athletes are expected from sort of 10:30. There's a cutoff at 4 o'clock. That is, again, very lenient. And then we will have, again, beers and festivities on Saturday night. The prize giving will not be at 7 o'clock. The prize giving will actually be after the top 3 teams of each category finish. So the prize giving will be done during the day, not at 7 o'clock. A few quick points about the shuttle. We are going to do an evening prologue on Friday, so your wetsuits are going to be wet. We had said that there's no tog bag drop, and you have to be changed in your SwimRun kit before the shuttle. We're not going to make you get in wetsuits to get in the shuttle. So when you come to registration tomorrow, you'll get your registration bags in yellow Power Bar shopping bags. We're going to put an extra one in there, so each teammate has got a yellow Power Bar bag. You can get in the shuttle wearing your casual clothes with your wetsuit and shoes and goggles and caps and vest and whistles in the Power Bar packet. When you get to Nelson Mandela University, you can change into your SwimRun kit and put your casual clothes back in the Power Bar packet, and we've got a vehicle that will take that through to the finish line. We've also got our coffee vendor, which is going to be at Nelson Mandela University, and you will all be getting a free coffee voucher at registration. So there's a coffee waiting for you at the start. I'm going to do a Google Earth fly through, and I'm going to be quite detailed about it. But just the route is marked, and it's marked on the runs. The swims are marked with flags at the start and finish of every swim. So you don't have to know where you're going, but it helps for everyone to have a good overview of the course. So just to our campsite. So this is the ebb and flow campsite. We're in the south side, so there's the north side of the top and the south side of the bottom. There is a bridge and an entrance to this campsite from this bridge over here from the north side. That is currently under construction. That is closed, so do not use that. Everyone must come into ebb and flow from the N2. You come from Cape Town direction, you come through George, through Wilderness, and then this turn off here into ebb and flow. So the Prologue route will start from our camp setup, which is on this northern side of the south side. We will go around this island, and then there's a beautiful swim up to the northernmost point of the northern camp, and then a run back down through the campsite to the bridge, across the bridge, and then up this very special sandpark single track trail, which brings you up the side of the river to a little pont crossing, which is on this little oxbow turn here. You don't need to use the pont. You can be in your SwimRun kit, so you just rather swim across, keep running up the river, and you'll get to a marshal and a flag, and at that point you then turn around and swim back down the river, back down to the pont. All of this has been flat and fast up to this point, and the Prologue's climb then starts from here. So it's quite a brute of a climb up to this really fantastic viewpoint. It looks down on the campsite. It also looks north it looks east over the Serpentine and over the Wilderness Lakes. So there's two very different athletes coming to this race. We got some extremely fast top-end athletes, and I know we've got some guys here for a complete social time. So if you do have a moment to just stop and admire the view, I would highly recommend that. It's a very technical, slippery run. Please watch yourself from the viewpoint back down to the river. Very steep, very technical. Watch yourself, and then it's the last swim around this island and back to the campsite. A note on the water. So this water I swam here today, it's about 14 degrees. It's lovely. Unfortunately, the river mouth has opened up with the heavy rain that we had last weekend. The river mouth has opened up over here, and it has drained this river slightly. So this first bit of the swim, which when we have done all our different scouting tours, which is a lovely swim, it's very shallow. So the first sort of 100 or 50 meters of the swim, you're actually going to be doing dolphin dives or just wading through till you pass this island. From this bridge all the way up to the north side of the campsite, the water is deep and lovely. Then on to just a quick talk on the prologue, on the timing. So again, there's a timing pod at the start, on the start ramp, and there's a timing pod on the finish ramp. So you tap yourself in, tap yourself out. The shuttles will leave from the ebb and flow campsite, and they will drive you up to Nelson Mandela University. And that is the race start. That is at 7:30. The shuttles will leave ebb and flow at 6:30. So again, there's a coffee vendor here, and you are allowed to come in your casual clothes and get changed in your SwimRun kit over here. The first bit of the route, beautiful through the forestry sections of the campus. It's one of the more beautiful campuses in South Africa, and it's probably one that not many people have been to. So I'm excited for you all to see it tomorrow. And you run onto the old Seven Passes Road. This is the original road that joined Knysna with George. It's a beautiful old road, and you run down to the Carmen's low-level bridge at the top, and this is the top of the Carmen Swamble. So swamble is a word that you would have heard us using a lot. It's a combination of swimming and scrambling. And down this Carmen sections, it is for the Ironman athletes joining us. This is the complete opposite of a controlled Ironman tarmac road section. It's a hugely fun section. It's very technical. It's very slippery. Please, everyone, race with extreme caution. From Carmen's bridge, which starts you off, all the way over the Carmen's train bridge at the Indian Ocean. This entire section, it's very difficult to get our safety teams in there. It's very slippery. The rocks are very slippery. There's lots of rocks just underneath the surface. This is a very important rule, never dive into any water in SwimRun. You always have to enter the water feet first, and never get separated from your partner. So those are two rules to please remember for the entire day. The most important being never dive into water. Always enter feet first. This is the map of Africa, a lovely viewpoint at the top here. This forms the outline of Africa. And you'll get down, so past the swammer, you'll get to our energy point 1. The guys from Power Bar will have goos and bars and water and Power Bar there. You then run across the dry river mouth onto the famous Carmen's train bridge. There are some boards missing from the train bridge. It's in quite a bad state of disrepair. We have sent our route team there to replace those boards, but still race with extreme caution over that Commons train bridge. Onto a trailway line, through a train tunnel, quite a fun experience, and then onto Wilderness Beach. So we have made wetsuits compulsory, so please everyone, it's wetsuits from start to finish on Saturday on the race day. On the prologue on Friday, it's optional. You can race in tri-suits or baggies. But on Saturday, race day, wetsuits from start to finish. The only piece of kit that you can drop off during the day is your helmets. And the helmets are compulsory from the start, so you have to start with your helmet. And we are going to have a safety check at the start, so you have to have your torpedo race vest, your torpedo whistle, your helmet that you bring in yourself, your wetsuit that you bring yourself, and your shoes that you are bringing in yourself. But when you get into Wilderness Beach, there is a helmet drop point, so you don't have to do the second half of the route with the helmet. Another just quick talk on safety for this Commons section. There's one batch starting. Everyone's going to start at 7:30. And there's only one timing checkpoint, and that's the finish line. So everyone's time will start at 7:30, and when you cross the finish line, you tap yourself out of the race, and that's your time. We do have 2 additional timing pods. One is at the start of the Commons. There will be a marshal there showing you all to tap in, and one is at the helmet drop. That is a safety precaution to ensure that everyone that went into the Commons comes out of the Commons. Okay, so past the timing and helmet drop on Wilderness Beach. Run along the beach. It's quite a tiring run. Closer you are to the water, the harder the sand is, as I'm sure you all know. And you get onto then the second river of the event, and that's the Toes River. So the mouth has opened and it has drained a lot of the water from this first bit. So we've edited the route slightly. This is no longer a swim. This is now a run. So you run along the beach and you run under the N2 and into the river, and you'll see our marshal with his flag standing on the far bank. There's a really nice boardwalk which runs along the north side of the river. You're going to now run along the river where you were swimming, and just before the point where you were going to get out of the swim, you're now jumping into the water. So the water is deeper the further up here you come. So this is now then going to be the swim past the old takeout, and quite an exciting edit actually. So we swim to the train bridge, and you're going to climb up on a ladder onto the train bridge and then run across the train bridge and join the original route, which takes you to Energy Point 2 at Ferry No. Again, it's going to be power bar, goos, bars, and water at Energy Point 2. A really nice swim up the Toes River, and then you get onto the longest run of the day. And it's the weather for Saturday is the temperatures get up to the sort of mid-teens, which is quite nice. It's not going to get too hot. I would recommend that, especially if you're in a long wetsuit, just after the Ferry No swim, take your vest off and take your wetsuit off your upper body. It's quite a long swim. It's quite a long run, and you will get hot. So that will then bring you to Energy Point 3. These energy points are quite close together, but we just wanted to put another one before the long swim and after the long run. This is our friends from Red Bull. They're going to be set up here, and they will give you some Red Bull, and we're also going to have water there to get you to the finish. This is the day's longest swim across Island Lake. There's going to be water safety by the NSRI, and you'll get out at the Sandbox camp at the far side of Island Lake. It's then a run into the finish at Ebb and Flow. There is a really cool last little swim. Again, it's all marked. There's a swim up the last bit of the Serpentine and bringing you out at Ebb and Flow. And then that's it. So the prize giving will be during the day when the top 3 from each category finish. But please join us on Saturday night at Ebb and Flow campsite. We're going to have Rusty and the Rhino again playing, and CBC have got some complimentary beers for all of us, so it should be a nice celebration at the campsite. Drive carefully, enjoy your putt course at Professor End, and we will see you tomorrow at Torpedo Wild. Cheers.